This is Cruise Radio.
I cruise a lot, and I always sail with travel insurance. You should too. Get a free quote today at tripinsurance.com.
Here we go.
Broadcasting from the tripinsurance.com studios in Jacksonville, Florida. This is Cruise Radio.
Hey, how's it going? My name is Doug Parker. Thank you so much for checking out this episode of Cruise Radio. Very happy to have you here. We have Brittany this week with a review of Carnival Spirit, right before it went over to Alaska. And Dan Skilken, president of tripinsurance.com, is here to answer the question of the week. So we'll jump right to Dan first. Welcome, Dan.
Doug, thank you for having me. It's great to be with you.
Dan, this question is from Gail. She says she travels 8 to 10 cruises a year, and she wants to know the difference between an annual travel insurance policy and buying one per trip.
Annual plans are generally popular for trips that are longer than 90 days without a specific travel agenda, or for people that travel a lot and what they're looking for is travel medical coverage. A lot of people think, well, I'd rather buy it once and I don't have the headache and I don't have to worry about it. I'm just covered if I leave. Well, the fact of the matter is, with an annual plan, most of them require you to register the trip anyway. You have to contact the insurance company and tell them, hey, I'm leaving. You're limited to the length of the trip that you can take or that you've got to return back to the United States. And they generally have very limited cancellation or trip interruption coverage for your travel arrangements. They'll cap it at an annual basis. So I've seen a lot of those plans will cap it at $3,000 or $4,000 on an annual basis. And so if you use up, let's say you have to cancel one of your trips for a covered reason at the beginning of the year, you have no more trip cancellation coverage for the rest of the year. So we right now don't have an annual plan on our website because we haven't found one that we think provides good enough coverage for multiple trips. And we believe our customers are better served by purchasing policies for specific trips because your insurance needs can vary from trip to trip. Most often, annual policies cost more than just insuring 4 or 5 trips a year, and you can get significantly better coverage tailored for each trip. So depending upon where you're traveling to, you may need a little better medical evac coverage or medical coverage, or you may want to say, hey, this particular trip, I've got a lot out in my deposits. I want to cover my trip costs. But there's other trips when you say, hey, I want to do the minimal amount of trip costs. I want to declare as low a trip cost as possible to get the cost down on the policy, because all I'm really worried about is my travel medical. Well, the comprehensive plan, if you do that, if you lower down your trip costs and say, hey, I'm not insuring my trip costs, you're basically waiving the coverage for trip cancellation and trip interruption. Mm-hmm. But what you're left with is the travel medical, the medical evac, coverage for your baggage, travel delay, misconnection. You get all the rest of the benefits of the plan. If you look at those and you're buying them for multiple trips, it's going to be cheaper than buying that annual plan. And one of the reasons it's cheaper is because you're not insuring time that you're not traveling. An annual plan covers you for the whole year. I only need coverage for the weeks I'm going to be traveling. So you're going to be far better covered if you're making multiple trips. If you buy those individual comprehensive plans, should you be hurt on an earlier trip, you've got a covered reason for cancellation on the subsequent trips that you're taking for the rest of the year, and you'll save yourself some money. And typically when we've shared this information with people, they say, I think I'd rather buy comprehensive plans. And they'll ask us for quotes, and we'll help them with their enrollments.
A couple of years ago, when Ashley and I got back to Vancouver from a cruise, she wound up testing positive for COVID. She had to stay in Canada for 10 days. That was the rule back then. She had an annual policy with a $3,000 benefit for a hotel. And so the 10 days exhausted that for like $4,800 or something crazy. So if she had a regular policy, would it be that much? Does it keep going? Or how is that capped out for an individual policy?
So that benefit is typically under the travel delay coverage section. The plans, for instance, will give you, say, $1,000 or $1,500 maximum coverage, but they will cap it on a daily basis, like $200 a day. So if you're traveling multiple people and you bought multiple policies, each person has got that $200 a day benefit. So if you're traveling, for instance, with your spouse, you're going to have $400 a day in benefit to cover the hotel, capped at $1,000 or $1,500. But that's per plan. That's not on the annual basis. Your friend may have exhausted that, and then for the rest of the year, they don't have any more coverage because they've already exhausted that benefit. Whereas each time you're buying a comprehensive travel insurance plan, you've got a new set of benefit limits.
Makes sense. Dan, if anyone has a question for you, where can they reach you?
Send us an email at support@tripinsurance.com. We are happy to help you. You can give us a call or send us an email. It's the easiest way to get a hold of us. Even if you haven't bought your travel insurance from us, we're here to help. We've helped people with their claims. We've helped people with other questions. We'd also be happy to help you with any quotes or any other issues that you might have regarding your travel insurance.
All right, Dan Skilken, president of tripinsurance.com. Dan, thanks for your time today.
Doug, it's always a pleasure.
Hey, a few months back, Brittany took an 8-night cruise on Carnival Spirit, and she joins us to talk about it. Hey, Brittany.
Hey, how are you, Doug?
Good, thank you. So let's take a step back here and get some pre-cruise thoughts. What made you want to take this 8-nighter on Carnival Spirit?
Well, my first 2 cruises were 5 nights, and I feel like they weren't long enough because I enjoyed it so much. I was just like, I want to be on here longer. So I had my second cruise booked. I was about to go on it, and I was at work one night looking through cruises, and I went and just put a down payment on this one. And I'm so glad I did. I really had a great time.
Yeah, what made you want to pick Carnival Spirit? Was it just it was the closest to you, or was it just the price point, or was it a mixture of both?
It was Key West in the Bahamas, so I was like, nice. Ooh, I've never been to those places. Yeah. I might give those a try.
So you make your way from Northeast Alabama down there to Mobile. How was your embarkation process, and how long did it take you from the curb to the ship?
Well, actually, it was really, really quick this time. I got there, I think my check-in time was around 11 o'clock. I got on the ship probably around 10:50-ish.
What were your first impressions as you walked on board Carnival Spirit?
Oh, it's a beautiful ship. It's has its age, but I really, really, really loved it. It was so pretty. I like it because it was smaller and it was easier to get around, but the Valor to me wasn't hard to get around either. As soon as I got on, I didn't even have to wait in line for food. Like the other 2 times I've been on a cruise, I feel like I had to wait in line, which is fine, but I just went straight immediately.
What kind of stateroom did you book for this 8-night cruise, and how was it through the voyage?
I decided to do a balcony this time. And at first, when they gave me my balcony room, it was a obstructed view. So then I had a chance to upgrade for maybe $60-something. I forgot how much it was. And I picked a room on the 7th floor that's not obstructed. And when I picked it, then I realized it was close to the elevator. So that was really nice, not having to try to find my room.
Nice. So let's talk about the food on Carnival Spirit. We'll start at the top at the Lido buffet area and go out from there. So how was the food in Lido? And you mentioned that it wasn't that crowded on embarkation day, but did it ever get or feel crowded through your sailing?
Honestly, not really. The pizza line would get a tiny bit long, but nothing like on the other cruises I've been on. I feel like on an 8-day cruise, too, it's a little bit more calmed down. You don't have really that many people. On a weekend cruise, you have more, of a drunk crowd. On an 8-day cruise, it's kind of more calmed down and stuff. So it's I feel like it's just more chilled out. So I didn't have to wait long for food. It was really, really nice.
It's a more refined crowd on the longer voyages,
yes,
right?
I'm a lot more refined in my age.
As far as the selections in there, as the grab and go and by the pool deck with the Guy's Burger and the Blue Iguana Cantina, how was that through your sailing?
Oh, it was awesome. I always go and get a taco as soon as I get on the ship, but those tacos are so good.
Yeah.
Then, of course, I have to have a margarita.
How about the main dining room? What time dining did you have, and how was the food and service throughout your cruise?
So I did late dining this time because I like to take a nap before I go to dinner. And it was I had a whole table to myself, which was so nice because I didn't feel like I had to make small talk with people. I could just, just sit there and just, I don't know.
So you had a table to yourself, right? So I'm curious
Yes.
then, was it a middle table or was it along the perimeter?
It was kind of awkward because it's this big round table.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like people were looking at me like, what?
Right.
That girl's like, look, she looks so lonely. I'm like, look, I'm probably so fine.
Right. How was the food?
Oh, it was delicious. There's a lot of times that I wasn't able to finish my food because this ship rocked a lot because, I don't know, I got seasick a lot this time. So I'd had to take a lot of my stuff to go with me. They had like 2 different formal nights, and my favorite formal night was on one of the last days. They had lobster and prime rib, and I got 2 entrees, and they were so good.
Nice.
Of course, I had the carnival melting cake every night 'cause you cannot go without that. That's my favorite.
Absolutely. What did you think of the entertainment around the ship for the 8-night cruise?
So I didn't make it to any shows. I would say, oh, I'm going to go to the show, and then I would take a nap and sleep through it. But I enjoyed like the music. Like I would listen to bands like in the Red Frog, and then at the Alchemy Bar, they had people singing. And it was really nice. They were really talented. I just forgot their names.
Did you hang out at like the piano bar or Alchemy Bar at all?
I never went into the piano bar, and I usually do, but I'm more of an Alchemy girl. I love the Alchemy Bar, and then I love the Red Frog Pub.
Do they have a pretty good alchemist on the sailing?
Oh, yes. I think 40 is the new 20 is my favorite drink.
I've always been a fan of the cucumber sunrise there.
Oh, that one's really good, too.
Yeah.
And then this bartender, he made me like a special drink, and I was like, it kind of tastes like a pink lemonade thing. And I said, what is this? He said, oh, no, I just made it random. I was like, okay, well, I'll just tell you I want the pink drink then.
There you go.
When I come by and get it. It's awesome when people know what you're going to get. Like my waitress in the main dining room, her name was Jennifer, and she's from the Philippines, and she was so precious. Like she was awesome. She did the best job.
That's cool.
And she was very good at what she did. She remembered my orders. She always said, you want the cake with the peanut butter? I was like, you know me so well.
As far as the casino, if you walked through it or whatnot, how was it with the smoke situation in and around it?
It was not that smoky at all. Like I was quite impressed. I mean, I played in the casino a little bit, but I played $100 in the casino, and I was like, okay, that's enough. I'm not losing no more money. I just want to build my points up. That was my first time actually playing in a casino on a cruise, honestly.
So the sea days, as far as crowds and congestion, what did you think?
Very chill. Like it wasn't like a wild crowd. On sea days, I always hung out at the Serenity, and I love the Serenity on this ship. Like, it's on the aft of the ship. They have a coffee bar on the Serenity. They had a pool and a hot tub because the other times when I was on the Valor, their Serenity is kind of like, I think deck 10, or I forgot what deck it is, but it's kind of on the sides. And I didn't care for how their Serenity was laid out, but I love the way this Serenity was laid out.
Yeah, so the Spirit class has the Serenity deck on the very aft end of the pool, or aft end of the ship, rather, with a pool, whereas the other class, like the Conquest class ships, like with Valor and Liberty and Conquest and such, they're up on, I think it's like deck 12 forward or something like that. But but there's only hot tubs up there, no pool. So the Spirit class Serenity is much better than the other ones.
It's so much nicer. And to me, it's bigger.
I felt like it had more clamshells, too.
Yes. I only got to have a clamshell 1 or 2 times because it was so hard because people would just, hog them. But really, I just like laying out in the sun. I didn't care. I was like, I'm on a cruise.
Yeah. So what ports of call did you hit? So you leave Mobile. What was your first port of call? Give us the port and give us the highlight.
So my first port of call was Key West, and I did a catamaran excursion that day. And it was like a sip and chill thing. It was really cool. Like, I really enjoyed it. Like, they gave us bottomless mimosas the whole time. But the water was kind of cold, so I never got in, but I laid out on this net. So I really enjoyed that. But honestly, I feel like the next time I go to Key West, I might not do excursion. I wish I would have just honestly explored and go and seen things I wanted to.
Yeah, you could do the Duval Street bar crawl if the ship is there for 8 hours or so. That's always fun down in the Keys. And then after the Keys, where did you go?
The next day, we went to Freeport, and I did a all-inclusive Viva Wyndham Resort. It's like like you paid I think it was like $100, and it's unlimited food and drinks. And it was a beautiful resort. But my 2 things I didn't care for was there was bees everywhere on the beach, like everywhere. Like I couldn't even enjoy my Bahama moment without a bee, like trying to sting me. And then they had these vendors out there trying to braid your hair every 5 seconds. And I was just like, look, I'm just trying to relax.
Yeah.
And then they asked these two bald guys if they wanted their hair braided. I was like, dang, they're trying to get some money.
Is this the place that has the pool as well with the chairs around it if you don't want to go on the beach?
Yes.
Yeah. What did you think of the food and the drink selections there? Pretty good?
Yeah, I mostly got a Bahama Mama, though.
Mm-hmm. How long did it take to get from the cruise port to the Wyndham Resort?
I would say maybe about 30 minutes. They took us in this double-decker bus.
So after the Wyndham and the Bees, you get back to the port area. Did you do anything around there before boarding again?
Honestly, I just went back to the ship.
Mm-hmm. What was your next port?
The next port was Half Moon Cay. That was my favorite port. It was so, so beautiful. Like, that water was so clear. Like, I wish I could stay there forever, like the sign said.
Well, yeah.
I did a horseback riding thing that day. Nice. It was awesome.
How was that, the horseback riding?
The best horseback ride I've ever done. Those horses were like very, very calm and docile, and I just didn't feel nervous because the last cruise I was on back in February, I did a horseback riding excursion in Progreso, Mexico, which those horses were nice too, but, you know, I was kind of nervous. I'm like, if I fall off, I'm going to, you know, hit the ground. But, you know, if I fall off on the beach, I think I'll be okay. But the water part was so much fun. Like, the first group that went in the water, this older lady fell off her horse, but I was like, well, at least she was in the water.
Oh, jeez. So you're taking the horses from the beach into the water. Are you really close together there?
Not like too close. I was on my horse. We changed horses. They said not to wear shoes. I thought we had to wear water shoes, so I bought some water shoes especially for that excursion. So they said, no, you don't wear shoes. I said, well, I can use them on another trip. But
there you go.
We hit this wave and it like hit me in the face.
Oh, jeez.
I had like salt water in my eyes as I was trying to get it out. I almost fell off, but I stayed on.
Nice.
It was so maybe I felt like I was on a mechanical bull in the water. I was like, because, you know, you're trying to hold on. Yeah. The saddle's a little bit different with the horseback riding in the water. So it was like not as sturdy, but.
Do you ride horses at all?
Not much.
No.
I wish I did.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not a cowgirl. I'm just a wannabe cowgirl.
Gotcha.
So I just do the excursions when I'm on my cruises.
Right, fair enough. So you wrap up horseback riding. You're still on Half Moon Cay. Did you go to the beach, the bars, any places to eat on the island?
I didn't go to the bars because your drink package don't work on the island. Mm-hmm. So I'm not paying extra, and I already paid good money for my drink package. So I just waited till I got back on the ship to drink. I just drank what was provided. I just laid in the water.
Yeah.
And it was so pretty. And the water wasn't as cold as it was. Like in Freeport, the water was too cold. I barely got in. Mm-hmm. But here, I mean, it was a little cold, but it was bearable. I noticed like fish swimming by me, and it was so clear. Like, I couldn't get over how pretty the water was. I was like, man, I wish I could just live there.
Yeah, they're about to make some big changes there. So you saw it at its purest form.
Well, it's about to be, I think, Relax Away Cay.
Yeah.
And they're going to have like a port where it won't be a tender port no more, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's Holland America's island, right? So on the north side, it's going to be divided for Carnival, and then on the south side, Holland America line is going to keep that same area.
I think I'd enjoy a Holland America cruise.
Yeah, they're nice. Was Half Moon your last port?
No, the next port was Nassau, which was the last port. Mm-hmm. And I was supposed to do a swimming with pigs excursion that day, but the weather was not very wet and rainy, and my excursion got canceled, and I was really sad. But I'm going back to Nassau on one of my next cruises when I'm doing the celebration. So I was like, well, I'll just rebook it then. So I just went to the spa after I explored Nassau and got my toes and nails done on the ship. Nice. I used that money towards that. I really enjoyed Nassau, though.
Nice. So you just kind of got your nails done. You went to the spa, then you're leaving Nassau, and you're heading back to Mobile. How was your debark process?
I felt like they rushed just a little bit. Like, I felt like I was in the Major Payne movie, and they were just yelling at me. I was like, I didn't know this was the military. I'm just trying to get off a ship. I guess they're just trying, they're having to get people in and out and stuff. But it was pretty fast, though. I think people are just, they were yelling at us. I didn't care for being yelled at, I guess, because I'm already in a bad mood because I'm, having to go back home to reality.
Yeah, that's exactly.
So I was just like, I'm already sad.
That is the worst part, is getting off the ship and having to make, like, when I get off the ship in Miami, I have to drive like 5 hours back here to Jacksonville. If you don't want to get off the ship, then you're waiting in lines. Then you're like, okay, I made it off. I made it through the lines. Now I have a 5-hour drive left.
That's how it was with me. It's like 5 hours to get back home.
Do you have any first-time tips to offer anyone either considering sailing solo or sailing on Carnival Spirit?
A lot of people tell me, they say, I just don't see how you cruise by yourself. That's so scary. I'm like, it's really honestly not that bad. People think it's unsafe. I'm like, we just need to be aware of your surroundings. Don't go and get drunk and not know what you're doing. It's just nice to have time to yourself.
Looking back, speaking of having some time to yourself, what was the biggest highlight of this cruise for you?
I think being able to sit on my balcony and just listen to the waves.
Now, do you disconnect when you go out there, or do you buy the internet package?
I did buy the internet package, and honestly, it's just a waste of money because I got the value, which is like the step towards the premium. Mm-hmm. And it was really slow in my room. Like, it barely worked, which I really don't care. I don't really get on social media the whole time. You know, I just here and there to check something, but I do pretty much disconnect.
All right, so your final thoughts of Carnival Spirit.
I would definitely get back on this ship because I really enjoyed the layout. It was small. I love the Serenity deck. That's my favorite. I never spent time on the main dome pool or anything because I just don't like a lot of crowds, and the Serenity was just really quiet and just peaceful. I'm ready to be back.
All right, well, we've been talking with Brittany about her 8-night cruise on Carnival Spirit out of Mobile, Alabama. Brittany, thank you so much for sharing this with us.
You're welcome.
A big question we get at Cruise Radio is, how do I know if I need trip insurance? Simple answer. If you're getting on a plane, taking a road trip, or getting on a cruise ship, you need to have travel insurance. Hey, it's Doug Parker from my friends at tripinsurance.com. Not only does tripinsurance.com protect your vacation investment, but it also gives you peace of mind in case anything were to go wrong on your trip. How do they do it? They offer 3 different types of trip insurance policies. Good, better, and best. One policy for every vacation budget. But it doesn't just stop there. They're up to 40% lower when you shop around on other comparison sites. Plus, tripinsurance.com offers 24-hour customer support before, during, and after your trip, online claims assistance, and travel alerts to let you know what's going on at your destination. But find out for yourself. Check out tripinsurance.com.
All right, Dougie, let's see what we got for you, buddy. Cruise Radio is produced at the tripinsurance.com studios in Jacksonville, Florida. Get cruise news, ship reviews, and money-saving tips every Thursday on Cruise Radio. If you've enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to the show. If you want to help spread the word, give Cruise Radio a 5-star review. Find Cruise Radio where you listen to your favorite podcast or online at cruiseradio.net. I'm your announcer,